Okay, everybody, it's now January 25th, and it's kind of funny because I keep looking at this schedule for when the Oscar nominations are out. It's not till like mid-March, so we've got quite a ways to go there. And it's kind of funny because these stuff like Golden Globes and the SAG Awards nominations are actually coming out very quickly here. I kind of looked at the calendar again. I had to remind myself, oh yeah, it's like a week and a half away, so I better go ahead and log back on and get into some updated predictions for the Golden Globes. We'll do Globes first, and we'll take care of SAG here after a couple days, probably here. Anyways, so I guess we'll start here with kind of work our way down here. We'll start with Best Film Drama and move on our way down, and we'll cover a couple of the other categories like score, animated feature, song. I haven't heard a lot of people talk yet about, and I can't remember how, because it's all semantics anyways at this point, but like, I think they still call it foreign language film or film from foreign, whatever the title of the category here is, the Globes. It's international feature now at the Oscars, but I forget if they, I think they still call it foreign language film here at the Golden Globes. But I haven't really heard much about that one, except one of the films we actually discussed, it was at Toronto kind of early on in the season, was Another Round, the new film with Mads Mickelson, who did The Hunt. It's the same director as The Hunt. And that one seemed to have made an impression. So I think a few people have touted that one as the potential early frontrunner. But it's like, I don't know, I read a few articles or, see headlines of articles every day, and it's like, oh, here's the contender from this country, and it should be, and it's, why it's a front runner, and then this one from this country, why it's a front runner. It's like, I just get so lost. It's just, I just don't know where to go with that category here. And again, there hasn't been, outside of those articles, they all say the same thing, which is this one should be a contender. And it's like, okay, well, you might as well compile, the 80 lists or, however many countries they had now. Making entries this year. So, regardless here, we'll get into the predictions here in just a second. Also, I wanted to say I've got a couple of films already watched here. There were a couple that I had yet to see. I'm actually going to change this really quick because I had to get into it here. And we'll mention them here as we get into the nomination predictions here. I might just give a quick recap of how I felt on the project and stuff. Just the only one, I started out with On the Rocks, Mulan, and then Pieces of a Woman came out on Netflix, so I finally saw those three. Mulan is one I don't have getting any Globe nominations right now, and I was kind of mixed on it. It didn't really appeal to me that way. I mean, the battle scenes were cool, and I think a lot of the action scenes were handled well, but like all the stuff in the camp with learning how to fight and stuff, it felt like we'd already been there, done that. The woman empowerment stuff, I mean, it's always good to see in films, but it's like this one in particular really felt stale, really felt like we'd been there, done that. And I just there wasn't really that big of a sense of excitement, I think, from the film in general, unless we got into those battle scenes or those kind of fight scenes. It's like those actually had some energy to them, and it felt like the film was kind of progressing in that way to where it was at that level of excitement and anticipation and stuff. But with with the training scenes and all the stuff about chi and all that stuff, it's just been there, done that, and I just didn't. There was just no energy to those scenes for me, at least. I really, once we got past the battle scenes and stuff, I kind of like the ending is like 10 minutes after the final battle and stuff, and it just kept going and going. I'm like, oh my god, it's only a 100-minute movie, but it just never ends. And I just really did not really end up enjoying myself with that one. 5 out of 10 was my rating on that one. But we'll get, there's two other ones, like I said, On the Rocks and Pieces of a Woman. We'll get into some maybe quick reactions there as we mention those films here. Okay, but early on, I don't have, On the Rocks, I still have in for comedy musical picture, but for the drama pictures, again, kind of the struggle we're going to have this year in this category at the Globes is it feels like almost all of the contenders that could be nominated for Best Picture or very likely be nominated for Best Picture, they all landed here. It's like there's really nothing in that comedy musical race right now that feels like it's a surefire Oscar contender for Best Picture. I mean, the closest I can think of right now is something maybe like, again, as we mentioned a few times, The Prom. And it's like that one has just, in the Best Picture race of the Oscars, Nothing. It's just flat, just on delivery flat. And I haven't, like I said, that's one that I still have to catch up on, and stuff like that. But I can. The list here is like I want to see Ammonite, Sound of Metal. I have to catch up on The Prom, Midnight Skies on Netflix, Souls on Disney Plus. I have to see stuff like that. So it's like, I've got quite a few to catch up on. Anyway, so with all that out of the way here, we'll get into the predictions finally here. So the 5 I have making the list for right now, we'll have to see here how this kind of changes here. Because I'll probably do one more video here before we get the actual prediction, or before the nominations come out next. It's Wednesday, the 3rd of February. One Night Miami I have out front, then Nomadland, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Trial of Chicago 7, and Mank. Those are the 5 I have making it here. And generally speaking, again, there's a couple here where it's like, in another year they'd be slam dunks. The Father, I think, would be a slam dunk any other year, and News of the World especially kind of has that, like 1917, last year, which ended up winning the category in a surprise, kind of a little bit of an upset there. And it's like, that one, I feel like, especially News of the World for me, I feel like that's one that it should be on the list, but it's, which one do you knock off? It's like, Ma Rainey's, again, it feels like a pretty surefire bet. Trial of Chicago 7, I think, is going to go over well. Nomadland has the best picture frontrunner prestige, which even a film like Boyhood a few years ago, which was another winner here at the Golden Globes, not only for picture but also for director, definitely helped lift that film. Otherwise, I think it might have struggled a little bit more. One Night Miami, I think, generally feels safe, and Mank generally feels safe as well, being Mank, especially with the filmmaking aspect to it, and being about movie making and everything. Let's see, otherwise, Defy Bloods is another one I think generally has a chance here. We could see something like Sound of Metal come back and land here. It did land on the AFI list today, which News of the World was one that did not land on there. And what was the other one? The Father was also not on the AFI list. But, generally speaking, the AFI list of 10 best films, there's one or two Oscar nominees they usually miss, or ones that I usually have close to being in contention there. Judas and the Black Messiah was one that was on the AFI list today, but and that's another one. I feel like if that one's going to get in, it will be a surprise nomination. It will be one where they saw it and they really liked it. It opens. Oh shit! When does it open here? I'm gonna pull that up because I think it's in February for sure. Black Messiah. February 12th is when it opens in theaters and on HBO Max. But it will be also showing at Sundance here, and that'll be actually just a couple days before the Golden Globe nominations are out. So presumably the review embargo will lift by then. Let's see, anything else here to kind of think about? I don't know. I feel like we've had reviews come out now for Malcolm and Marie, which I think the last time I did a video, it was like a couple days before the first screening started. And actually after the first screenings, I put it in for picture, I put it in for screenplay, I put in John David Washington, and I put in Zendaya, and then I put it in for cinematography as well. Now since then, and the reviews have now landed, and it's like, oh, well, some of that early buzz was just really, buzz, and after that, the rest of the people that saw the movie were like, some of them had a lot of mixed receptions there, kind of like Pieces of a Woman. Which, again, we'll get to that one here later. Because I have a few things I can say about that movie, having seen it here. But Malcolm and Marie, though, I feel like, again, that if it gets anything here at the Globes outside of the acting nominees, I'd be a little surprised. Promising Young Woman, I think some people like, and some people have been putting that one a little bit more forward now for like Best Picture and original screenplay, which I have switched that one at the Oscars. Who did I take out? I took out, because I had Malcolm and Marie in, and then I put in Promising Young Woman instead. But I think did I have Soul in? No, I had something else. Okay, I'll think about it later. But I've made a few Oscar changes as well. But again, I'll probably update that sometime. I'll probably update it after we have the SAG and the Golden Globe nominations out. Probably, I'll probably wait till then, because I'll probably change it again before we get to that. Anyways, so, I've named off a lot of stuff here. It's like, there's a lot that I think, again, in another year, the Globes would have gone with, but just the fact that so many of our Best Picture, arguably front runners, are here in the drama category. That really kind of leaves it really up for grabs there for those slots. Okay, for the motion picture comedy musical category, I still have On the Rocks out front here just for now, but I know The Prom is one that a lot of people have been picking over On the Rocks. And On the Rocks, just a quick review of that one. A few years ago I saw Lost in Translation, and I was kind of, after it was over, I was kind of like, I don't really get the buzz on that. I didn't really get what it was, all the excitement was about for that one, because generally the film I just thought was, outside of Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson's chemistry and stuff, I just really didn't get it. It just really was kind of just a slow movie, and it didn't really add up to much. On the Rocks, on the other hand, I thought was much more enjoyable film. Rashida Jones and Bill Murray do have good chemistry on screen. She even has some arguably, some good chemistry with the Wayans brother that's in there. I can't remember if it's which one it is, but yeah, and even some of the quick scenes like Jenny Slate were kind of funny. The whole general premise of the movie I found really funny. Bill Murray actually gets a really good scene in the third act of the movie where he kind of his persona that he has, which is basically just playing himself, Bill Murray. When that kind of drops off and he talks about an ex-fling he had, and the relationship he had with her and stuff, who wasn't Rashida Jones's mom, that scene I thought was really good, and it really showed him there. So for now, I put him in instead of David Strathairn for supporting actor at the Oscars, and I have him getting in here at the Globes as well. But I was initially, after they pulled him out of lead actor here at the Globes, they reclassified him there. I was like, oof, I don't know. I was like, that really kind of takes the wind out of the sails for a couple of the categories here for On the Rocks, and it's like, I don't know, I just generally felt after that, I'm like, okay, I pulled it for director or pulled it for screenplay, so I think Rashida Jones, and if Bill Murray, and if the film gets in, that's still a good showing for him. The Prom I have in a solid second place, and that could come back as a kind of big spectacle film to win. The Borat sequel I have in there, Palm Springs I have in there, and then Hamilton I've moved up. I can't remember. Which one did I have in before? I can't even remember. Was it King of Staten Island or something like that? Or Emma? It was one of those I had. No, French Exit. French Exit was the one I had. That's right. Yeah, I kind of pulled that one out because I feel like French Exit, again, it didn't really land with a big, big appeal when it premiered at New York. It's like all the buzz was for Michelle Pfeiffer, who I still think stands a good chance to win here for lead actress comedy musical, but she definitely, I think, will have some competition there. And just generally speaking, again, for like Best Picture and even her chances at the Oscars, I think are just continuing to just diminish, because that one is really out of sight, out of mind now. Kind of like Ammonite as well for like Kate Winslet and Saoirse Ronan in their respective categories. So it's like, I don't know, I just really, feel that. Plus Hamilton, it's Disney Plus. Disney will have, they'll have Soul that they're going for and stuff at the Oscars, maybe for Best Picture. But yeah, this can be a real spot where something like Hamilton can really land there. So yeah, French Exit still could land, but again, I just don't really sense a big general excitement around that one. Emma could come back and surprise us, but I don't think, not right now, I'm not thinking it. King of Staten Island, yeah, if it gets Pete Davidson in, that's probably the win for that, just getting the nomination. But yeah, generally speaking, it's like, yeah, we're kind of down to those. And then one other one, Personal History of David Copperfield, some people are still putting in, but again, I just don't really generally sense any excitement around that one. Okay, for the lead acting categories here, starting with the drama races. Drama actor, I think I have the same 5 as last time here. That's Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's, Anthony Hopkins for The Father. One thing, though, I did not mention last time, and I looked it up afterwards because I'm like, wait a minute. And I couldn't believe I didn't bring it. Anthony Hopkins has actually never won a Golden Globe. So, I mean, it could be a case where he does win here. Because, I mean, obviously at this point, I think everybody's just on that Chadwick train where he's just going to run through the whole award season there for the posthumous win for Ma Rainey's, which, again, is very well deserved. And I haven't seen The Father yet, but yeah, his performance in Ma Rainey's was beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I still think that's going to happen here at the Globes, but that could be a rare, maybe the one time where he doesn't win and they do give it to Anthony Hopkins as kind of a, like a oops, kind of deal. I don't know. So that could be an upset brewing there, but I don't know. For now, I think Chadwick rides that one through. Gary Oldman I have in there for Mank, Delroy Lindo for Da 5 Bloods, and then I still have Tom Hanks in there for News of the World. but I'm really questioning that. I'm really torn on who to replace him with. The first one I have here, because he's just been doing so well at some of these Critics' Prize and stuff, that's Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal. Again, having not seen the film, he's really bumped up at the Oscars race as well. A lot more people are predicting him now, and also Paul Raci, his co-star in the film. I'm also thinking about John David Washington for Malcolm and Marie. I'm also thinking about potentially Steven Yeun for Minari. So it's like there's a lot of possibilities here as well. But I just don't, I'm kind of looking at all of them. I'm kind of trying to pick out, okay, what pushes, so-and-so over Tom Hanks here. And I think News of the World, I feel like it's one, again, traditionally the Globes, I think, would put it in there for their 5 for drama, but because so many other films are in there right now, it's pushing it out. I think they're going to have a soft spot in their heart for that film. It might end up just getting like a score nomination, possibly. It could fall to that, if Helena Zengel and Tom Hanks both fall out. Greengrass misses for director. The film misses for drama picture. It could end up with just score. And, I see that as a possibility, but again, right now I have them in, but I'm like, I'm just really, between those 3, I don't really know, which one do I put in over Tom Hanks right now. Let's see here. Then for the leading ladies in drama, I've made a change here, and this goes across the board. And I'll tell you what, a few months ago, I was very skeptical of her getting the nomination. But after having seen, first I saw the trailer, then I put her in. And now after having seen the film, damn, I want Vanessa Kirby to win this badly. I want her to win this so bad because she is awesome in that movie. And Pieces of Woman, if I can, we'll kind of break the silence here in this one. This is actually, I think, I haven't seen a lot this year, but I think this is my favorite film of the year so far. And I know it might be surprising because it has been kind of divisive with critics. And generally speaking, a lot of people who have seen it too, it's like, they're not really kind of going for it. Some folks I've heard about that have seen it. And I haven't seen a few of the other, higher up there films, like Sound of Metal. I know a lot of people have put on there as like one of their best films of the year. Minari or Nomadland or One Night in Miami. Obviously, I'll get to those eventually. But for now, Pieces of a Woman I thought was fantastic. And the general line I have with this one is, keeping reviews short here. It's like everybody involved in the production, from the actors, the director, the screenwriter, everybody, down to the cinematography, which is absolutely breathtaking in several of those long takes and stuff. Everybody involved with this movie loves movie making, and they love the magic of the movies. And I felt that as I watched the film. Now, maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe, a lot of you have general complaints about the film, but I don't know. I thought she was excellent. I have Helen Burstyn now out front for supporting actress because I just don't know what else to do with that category. We'll probably talk about it here in a little bit. But, man, Vanessa Kirby is so good. I mean, not only does she really, have that kind of, some have argued, Beatty part in the first, 25 minutes of the movie, which, generally speaking, I've already talked about it if you go back through my videos. We talked about it when it premiered at, I think it was Venice. But, anyways, if you have heard about it and you haven't seen it yet, don't read any of the reviews. Don't go in knowing what the plot is. Go in as cold as you can, kind of like Promising Young Woman. It delivers, and you'll be floored by what happens in this movie if you go in blind. And you might be, kind of warned off the film if you go in having, knowing what is coming. And I generally knew what was coming, but even in that moment, that 25-minute long take, which is extraordinary, just Shia LaBeouf and Vanessa Kirby and Molly Parker are like the only 3 actors in that scene, and just the way they go through it, and the camera follows them, and it's, again, I think it's about 25 minutes. It's a super long endeavor there, but it was like there was a sense of panic I was having, a sense of dread at, knowing what was coming, and it worked, and it really leaves an emotional impact. And I remember I was, because it's on Netflix, I could pause it and come back to it and stuff. I remember I was going to watch just, that part and then maybe a little bit after, and then I was going to pause it and come back to it later. But I got so hooked on that opening scene. It worked so well for me that I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to watch the whole rest of the movie. And I did, and I was not disappointed. And I think, generally speaking, the only real complaints I have, there's one speech given by the Vanessa Kirby character at the end that felt a little out of place and a little unrealistic and stuff like that. And the very last shot, which is, again, it's only like 3 minutes, but it's like, not counting when the credits start, but there's like a 3-minute little shot that kind of follows a new character that's introduced. I don't want to give too much away. But there's one key piece of information that we're missing from that scene that, in my heart of hearts, I wish we would have known what that piece of information was. If you've seen the film, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. If not, I want to keep it generally non-spoiler here. So I wish that we knew that, but otherwise I left the film breath taken away. I absolutely adored Vanessa Kirby's performance, and my reason I put her out front is not just because I love the film and I love her performance in it, but I look at the two other contenders that a lot of people are talking here, Viola Davis and Frances McDormand, and I see two really cutting arguments against them right now. First of all, they both won an Oscar before. Also, they both have a little bit of definite vote splitting going on, where I can definitely see an argument where a lot of people are going to go in and say, well, I love Frances, and even though we gave her an Oscar a couple of years ago for 3 Billboards, I just love her in Nomadland, so I'm going to put her in. And same with Viola Davis. We just gave it to her for Fences just 1 year, but 4 years ago now, or 3 years ago, whatever it was. But we love her in this, and Ma Rainey's is so good and stuff. So I'm going to vote for her. There could be enough vote splitting where somebody like Vanessa Kirby, who has just enough kind of the blogosphere, kind of the fans of the movie behind her, I think she can split the vote and win. Plus, and Zendaya also cuts into this argument as well, though, so they might end up splitting in this aspect too. We've seen very recently here, in the last 10 years at the Oscars for Best Actress, a lot of young, up-and-coming actresses win, with Jennifer Lawrence, Brie Larson, Emma Stone, and I think, those are the three that I'm thinking. There's probably one more that I'm totally blanking on right now. But they love to award that young actress who, say, okay, you're up-and-coming when you're nominated, and you've made it when you've won the Oscar in the same year. And Vanessa Kirby and Zendaya, too, both kind of cut into that argument as well with that. So just for now, I do have Vanessa Kirby out front for Pieces of a Woman here. And I do think Viola and Frances are definitely close here as well. Then Carey Mulligan I do have in for Promising Young Woman, and then Zendaya for Malcolm and Marie. So there's quite a few other places they can go here, though. First, let's go into Kate Winslet. I can still see making a surprise comeback and getting a Globe nomination here. She's definitely a favorite here at the Globe. She just won a few years ago for Steve Jobs, so that's relatively fresh in the mind of the voters. But that shouldn't prevent her from getting another nomination. Sophia Loren, definitely has because she is a foreign actress. This is the Hollywood Foreign Press. She could definitely benefit from that. The Life Ahead, I feel like. Again, generally, outside of her performance, that movie is out of sight, out of mind. It wasn't entered as the film for Italy or whatever for foreign language film or international film at the Oscars. So that really, I think, cuts against it. And then Amy Adams is one I can see making comeback for Hillbilly Elegy. I mean, even though the film, I didn't like it, and her performance especially, I really did not care for. She is, somebody who is almost always a nominee here when it comes to the Globes. Big Eyes, which she missed out on the Oscar nomination for, Arrival, which she missed out on the Oscar nomination for, both nominated here, and won for Big Eyes. So they do love Amy Adams here, and she's been nominated for Sharp Objects on the TV side as well. So it's not like she hasn't been given enough chances here, but. I don't know. It could be where if they're just not enough of them like Malcolm and Marie, or they're not really on board for Promising Young Woman. I can see something like Amy Adams coming in, and then Andra Day. Definitely a few weeks ago, a lot of people were really touting her as that fifth slot before Zendaya kind of rose up with the early reactions to Malcolm and Marie. But after having seen the trailer and stuff, I'm really afraid because Viola Davis is out in not the same role, obviously, but in a kind of similar diva, black, jazz kind of performance there, that really, the two really cut against each other, and it's going to be tough to have them both playing similar roles make the same, both get in at the Oscars, and really across a lot of other award shows. Now, SAG, as we've said many times, though, does like to really diversify with their nominees. They really like to almost have a quota system for how many, African American nominees and stuff like that. It almost feels that way if you look at it in that way. So that might be the one spot where Andra Day gets in and Viola both, but right now I think it really hurts Andra Day to have Viola Davis playing a very, very similar role in the same year. That could really cut against her there. Okay, for the leading actors in the comedy musical race, I have Sacha Baron Cohen out front for Borat. I think I've pretty much had him there since day one, I think. Other than, I might have put Bill Murray there at first for at one point, but I don't know. Then Andy Samberg for Palm Springs. Dev Patel for Personal History of David Copperfield. Pete Davidson for King of Staten Island. I have put in Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton. Generally speaking, this feels like a pretty safe 5 for right now. Really, nothing else is really standing out to me right now. Mads Mikkelsen for another round. It's being entered in the comedy musical race, which is, generally, in another year that might have been, a good contender there. But I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, it is Hollywood Foreign Press. He is a foreign actor, so it's kind of the same thing with the Sophia Loren argument. But I don't know. And then James Corden also for The Prom. I mean, if it really, really does go over well, I can see him getting in over somebody like a Pete Davidson or maybe over Lin-Manuel Miranda. But for now I don't think so. And then actually Leslie Odom Jr. is also being entered in for lead actor comedy for Hamilton. But we're going to see Sasha nominated, I believe, also in supporting for Trial of Chicago 7, and Leslie is almost definitely going to get in for One Night in Miami for supporting. So, generally speaking, I don't see him getting in over Pete Davidson or over Dev Patel or Andy Samberg or anybody to get both Lin-Manuel and Leslie Odom in. Well, unless they like Hamilton that much, but again, even though Hamilton, the big show it was and stuff and everything, when it came on Disney Plus over the July 4th weekend and stuff, it was like, it was a big deal for like a couple weeks, and now since then, I think everybody's kind of forgotten about it. I even forgot about it for a while here for like the Globes, because that seems like a slam dunk to get in for a couple of those categories there. But and one thing we'll mention with Leslie Odom Jr. when we get to supporting actor, but the fact that everybody in the film has been entered into supporting here at the Globes, maybe that does change things a little bit, but I don't know. I think, just generally speaking, he seems like the front runner right now for supporting actor for that film, so I don't see them putting somebody else in just to get him nominated for lead actor comedy musical. I don't see that happening. Okay, let's go to the lead actresses here. I still have Michelle Pfeiffer out front here for French Exit. Generally speaking, people are pretty mixed on whether it's her, Maria Bakalova, or Meryl Streep to win here. And I think Maria Bakalova, is a really strong second place contender here right now. I actually had her lower on my personal list on Gold Derby, so I'm going to bump her up here. After she was considered in the lead race here, because they had her in supporting here, but now she's being entered as lead. Man, that, could be kind of one of those star-making type performances there where it, does win the Globe. A lot of people were arguing that last year for Ana de Armas for Knives Out. And I didn't really buy into that. I went with, I can't even remember. Who was the winner last year? It'll come to me. But whoever it was, it's going to bug me. Hold on. Let's see, who was in the comedy musical race last year? I can't even remember. Let's see here. Aquafina. That's right. Of course. Missed out on the Oscar nomination there. I had Aquafina. I can't remember if I had her from the start, but I definitely had her winning before the nominations were announced. At least I think so. Somebody can fact check me on that and go back to my videos last year and tell me if I'm wrong. But definitely, going into the night, I knew she was going to win, or had was predicting her to win. Otherwise, Rashida Jones, like I said, for On the Rocks, feels very solid here. Meryl Streep definitely for The Prom, and then Anya Taylor-Joy does have Queen's Gambit on the TV side, which I think a lot of people have really bumped her up to like she's going to win everything this year. I haven't seen, like I said, I've seen like one episode of the show, and I'll at some point I'll catch up with it, maybe after Oscars are done or something, or after the nominations are out, when I've caught up with everything. But generally speaking, it sounds like a good show, and it sounds like one I would actually dig. But yeah, for her winning all those, I don't know. She could, but I don't know. But getting in here for Emma, I don't know. It's like I don't really. Looking at the list here, I don't know who gets in over her. Because Kristen Milotti for Palm Springs, it's like maybe Millie Bobby Brown for Enola Holmes, possibly. But again, that one, especially Enola Holmes, when it came out, it was popular again, like a lot of Netflix films. It's popular for a week and then it kind of disappears. Otherwise, Tessa Thompson's in for Sylvie's Love, which is one. It's being entered, I think, generally speaking, on like the TV movie race, like the equivalent at like the Emmys and stuff when it comes around next time or whenever. I mean, she is a popular enough name. She could stand out in the crowd there and get nominated, but I don't know. Margot Robbie, we mentioned many videos ago for like Birds of Prey. I don't think so. Emily Blunt is almost always seems to be a nominee here. She didn't get in for like Quiet Place or anything like that, but Into the Woods and a few of those other ones there. And one Globe very early on for some of her TV work. She has a Wild Mountain Thyme, which I haven't mentioned, I don't think, in anything here. And that was one, I don't think it's Netflix, but whatever it came out on, I think Amazon or whatever, it was again popular for a week and then really dropped off. So that one, maybe. But again, I since the general excitement for the film is still not around, no, I'm not really confident in that one getting a nomination here. All right, so I think that's it for the leading categories there. Going into supporting races here, starting with supporting actor. Generally, these are the five at the Oscars as well, and I think everybody except I dropped David Strathairn here, and now with Bill Murray in the supporting actor race here for the Globes. Yeah, I have put in. I have him in, but I have him like really close to missing here. But again, just generally speaking, Leslie Odom Jr. out front, then Mark Rylance, who has a little bit of an IOU since he didn't win for Bridge of Spies here a few years ago. Then Sacha Baron Cohen, and I think what really, if Sasha does go on to win the Oscar for supporting actor, there's a couple things. Number one, if he's going to win, I think what would really help him, and we've seen, a few odds makers and stuff kind of moving stuff around here. Generally speaking, I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who I have getting in right now for Chicago 7 as well, he'd be the third actor nominated, he's really dropping off some of these lists lately. Too bad, because I do like him in the movie. But I think what would really help Sasha win at the Oscars is if he doesn't have any co-stars nominated to fight against him. And generally speaking, I think that's part of the reason why I don't have him winning right now. But if Leslie Odom, and I think also what will really help Leslie Odom Jr. is if he's the only one of the four that gets in for One Night in Miami. That really boosts his chance. So that's, plus the performances from Mark Rylance and Yahya are so good anyways. I think, and Sasha's good too. Everybody in that movie is good. What am I talking about? I think I still have this kind of theory here where it's, the three get in. But, I definitely we've seen people like Paul Raci and Daniel Kaluuya rise up for their respective films. Sound of Metal for Paul, and then Daniel Kaluuya, of course, as Judas in the Black Messiah. Chadwick Boseman, I've seen a lot more people putting him in for Da 5 Bloods, but again, I'm not very confident about that one. I just don't, awarding him Best Actor, which I think, again, generally speaking, I think is going to happen this year for Ma Rainey's. That's a prize there. And, with so many other good performances out there and supporting, as good as Chadwick is generally as an actor, and, he did leave an impression there for Da 5 Bloods, I don't know. I just didn't, personally speaking, I wouldn't put him in. I wouldn't really consider him as a big Oscar role there in that for that film. For me, Delroy Lindo totally stole the show in that movie. And I think that if anything, for that one, I think Da 5 Bloods really should be remembered for that. Anyways, otherwise, who else are we kind of thinking here? Again, some people are maybe going a little odd here since all the One Night in Miami people are here, all the four lead actors here. Kingsley Ben-Adir, who's otherwise really being projected as in lead actor. Some people have him getting in over a couple of these other guys so they can get two of the One Night in Miami fellas in here. David Strathairn, I think, still has some votes. Stanley Tucci still has some votes for Supernova, but I don't know. I think generally speaking, it kind of feels like, Yeah, I think it kind of feels like the five I've got are probably the ones I'll stick with again, unless, I want to go Paul Raci if I see Sound of Metal in the meantime here. I'm busy with other stuff, so I might not catch up with that one until after these nominations are out. Okay, so then, yeah, for supporting actress, I already mentioned, I now have Ellen Burstyn out front for Pieces of a Woman. Part of the argument I had early on for Anthony Hopkins winning for The Father is, he's that level of actor where when it's all said and done, you'd love to see them have, 2 Oscars on their mantle. And definitely for actresses, Ellen Burstyn, definitely. Yeah, she makes that list. And plus, she does have a very, very showy, very emotional monologue in the third act of Pieces of a Woman. It kind of feels, the film kind of runs together after that first 25 minutes. It's almost like that's the first act, and then there's a whole thing there, which I mentioned, the Vanessa Kirby speech scene, that feels like it's almost like the third act, but it's only, like the last 20 minutes of the movie, maybe. And it feels like the rest is almost like this long middle, kind of middle act or second act or whatever. So, I know it's kind of weird in that way. But yeah, I think that strong monologue she has, plus her, real, legend status there as an actress, I think really might help her win out over folks like Olivia Colman or Amanda Seyfried or Glenn Close or a few of the other ones there. But yeah, and yeah, I do have those 3 there, and then Helena Zengel is my 5th pick for News of the World. But again, I'm just, I think Helena is probably the weakest link here, but I just, because again, generally speaking, unless I predict it, the child stars get in when I say they're not, and then when I say they are, they miss. I just can't get it right. But I just don't really know who else to go with here. Because Yoo Jun-yun for Minari, we kind of fall into that trap last year of Parasite where none of the actors got in. Saoirse Ronan for Ammonite, again, feels out of sight, out of mind. Nicole Kidman possibly for The Prom, but again, I think if she would get in, she needs a little bit more trajectory at the Oscars. When she did get in for Lion, she ended up getting nominated at the Oscars. And then, was she nominated here for Boy Erased, or was that at Critics' Choice? I can't even remember. Because she got, one nomination there. That was, at one of the main things here. Lucas Hedges got in, and it got in for Song, but it didn't get, she didn't get in at the Globes here. And it wasn't Screen Actors Guild, so it must have been... Yeah, okay, right, yeah, it's right here. Critics' Choice. Yeah, they went with Nicole for supporting actress. But again, they had 6 slots, and now, yeah. When it comes to predictions for that, I'm always I have no clue, because they do whatever the hell they want. Anyways, but yeah, you'll notice I haven't mentioned them much this year. That's because I don't really care at this point. They just have so many nominees. It's and it's the scale of how many nominees they have makes almost 0 sense. So, anyways. I don't know who else they would really kind of go with here. It's nobody else is really sticking out from the pack here, except maybe Mercuria. I don't know if I can pronounce this one. Jodie Foster. She's got a supporting role in maybe I'll pronounce it Mauritian. Oh boy, somebody will say it somewhere and I'll pronounce it correctly after that. But it's Mauritanian or something like that. Yeah, I haven't heard much on that one, but I think that's one that is that an Amazon one or something? It might be coming out here after in the next few weeks, but yeah, generally speaking, again, I think if she were to get in, I think we would have seen a little bit more buzz for that film and for her performance going in, but right now it's kind of not. Let's see, we skipped director. I'm sorry. For director, I do have. Kind of, and I'm considering here because I have since we did our last video there, Chloe Zhao I've put out front now for Nomadland at the Oscars, but I'm not really sure as far as right now the front runner for this one if it will be David Fincher or if it will be her, because Nomadland I can see kind of like not 1917 Dunkirk or a few of those other ones there, what was the one, The Post or Spotlight and stuff like that. They went home empty-handed at the Globes. So Nomadland I can actually see being one that goes home, possibly going home empty-handed. Then again, Chloe, yeah, again, if she really starts on a trajectory here the way that Alfonso Cuarón did for Roma a couple years ago, yeah, I definitely can see that happening. But right now I'm kind of thinking David Fincher has a shot here. I mean, it's Mank, which is Obviously, like we said, Hollywood Foreign Press is a big, old Hollywood style movie, even down, like we've said many times, to the audio track, music track, and dialogue track all being, everything is all mixed in on the same track. So I don't know. For now, I have an idea that he might still pull this off here, at least at the Globes. Now, going forward after that, he might struggle. If he wins DGA, then we can, we'll go forward with that conversation. But again, for now, I think Chloe is definitely a close second here. Then Regina King for One Night in Miami. I do have Aaron Sorkin making the list here for Trial of Chicago 7, but I have him missing at the Oscars. And then Minari, which will be a player here at Minari. Again, somebody will bitch at me that I'm not pronouncing it right, but fuck you. At the Oscars, here at the Globes, it's going to be in the foreign language category. It doesn't qualify for Best Picture Drama because there's enough dialogue in a foreign language. So that one and probably another round are like the two for sure bets. And then after that, it's kind of, again, like I said, a lot of people have thrown a lot of articles out this year about which one of those foreign films is going to be the front runner and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know. It's just a big puzzle right now. So I think what could help it, and it could get to the status of where Parasite was last year, is getting a director nomination here. And after I took out Sofia Coppola, I'm like, I don't know. I don't really see, like, Spike Lee is the one I have getting in at the Oscars instead of Aaron Sorkin. So, and I'm like, they like Spike Lee here. BlacKkKlansman missed out for screenplay, but it got everything else here at the Globes that year, including John David Washington and Adam Driver, and then it got in for picture and director. So I'm like, I don't know. It's like The Five Bloods, I don't really see that as a bigger, as a Golden Globe movie, though. I see that more, definitely being favored at the Oscars because of all the technical categories and stuff, where it's probably going to land in, like, score, cinematography, possibly editing, sound, possibly, maybe visual effects, maybe. I mean, it's kind of dicey, but I don't know. Possibly, I don't know about costume design, production design, but it could actually end up with a fair number of nominations there. And I don't know about Paul Greengrass, because again, News of the World I don't think is going to land here as well. Florian Zeller for The Father. I think if The Father was a more, obvious pick for, like, Best Picture Drama, if there was a little less competition in that category, I can see the argument for. Emerald Fennell for Promising Woman, I don't know. If The Prom really goes over well, Ryan Murphy, but again, I'm not really sensing it here. George C. Wolfe for Ma Rainey's, no, I've taken him out for Best Director, obviously, as well. So that left me with Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, and I have him in at the Oscars as well here. So I don't know. I put him in for the 5th slot here for the Globes. So I don't know. I might be wrong about that one. It might come back and haunt us there, but I don't know. I feel like that one's probably going to score there. All right. So then for the screenplay category, I have Trial of Chicago 7 out front, Nomadland in 2nd, Mank in 3rd, One Night in Miami in 4th place, and then Ma Rainey's in 5th place for screenplay here. But again, this might be a very dicey category. This is one where I can see, okay, On the Rocks might come back in. Promising Young Woman might make a splash here. The Father, again, another year, I think The Father would be a slam dunk in this category. But I don't know. And then Minari might come back and score a nomination here. Possibly Malcolm and Marie or Judas and the Black Messiah, if those really take off, some of those late hitters that nobody has officially seen yet. That have been released yet, I should say. Because people have seen Malcolm and Marie. The Five Bloods, Spike Lee did miss out for screenplay last time, so I think he's a little bit lower on the list. The Borat sequel possibly could score here as well. Yeah, the screenplay category might be a little bit tougher, but for now I think it's the 5. It is the 5 I have in for drama picture right now, so that might be dangerous. I might want to switch that up before then, but we'll see. Okay, then for the few tech categories they have here, again, excluding the foreign language category, because that one just feels all over the place right now. Soul I have out front right now for animated film. Then Wolfwalkers, Onward, Over the Moon, and then Trolls World Tour. Otherwise, look out for Earwig and the Witch, which is one I do have in at the Oscars right now for animated. There's one, The Willoughbys, which some people are picking here. The Croods has a sequel out. Shaun the Sheep movie officially released in the U.S., so now that one's going to be here. I'll have to remind myself. Did that get nominated at BAFTA last year because it qualified there last year? Farmageddon. I don't know. We'll see what comes up here. Films. Here we go. Shaun the Sheep movie Farmageddon. That's the full title. Okay. Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, last year I was like, I'm pretty sure it got in last year because it qualified last year. Now it has qualified here in the U.S. this year since it's on Netflix now. Yeah, I think that one again. Aardman, is usually a big player here. Definitely at the Oscars, but at the Globes, they've been known to miss sometimes. So I don't know about that one. Okay, then to the two music categories that they're going to have here. I had this queued up and now it went away. Let's see. For score, I think Soul gets in. Again, I kind of have that as more or less the front runner right now at the Oscars as well. News of the World, I think, is a pretty good bet. The Midnight Sky, because of Alexander Desplat, feels very solid. Trials of Chicago 7 I have in, because it's Daniel Pemberton. They've given him a couple nominations at the past year at the Globe, so I see that one. And then that fifth nominee is really tight here, because it's like, is it Minari? Is it One Night in Miami? Is it Da 5 Bloods? Could it possibly be Tenet? If they think it's Hans Zimmer when it's not, it's Ludwig Göransson. Because it's usually, the Hans Zimmer score gets in here at the Globes and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think so. So for now, I'm picking One Night in Miami to get that score nomination. But it could be Da 5 Bloods, also by Terrence Blanchard. But we have found out actually from the music branch that One Night in Miami is actually disqualified from musical score, which definitely helps Da 5 Bloods, I think, end up being the nominee there for Terrence Blanchard this year. He has, there was one other one, is it the Halle Berry one that he's doing as well, the boxing movie? Because he was supposed to have 3 out this year, but now it's been reduced to 2 because whichever one got pushed back. But yeah, I think One Night in Miami will land a little bit better here than Da 5 Bloods. Okay, then for the song category, I definitely think like the One Night in Miami song, Speak Now, I think a lot of people have been putting up a lot of signs for that one. Hear My Voice from Trials of Chicago 7 might score here as well if they really like that movie, which I have it getting, quite a few nominations there. We could see, I think Wear Your Crown from the Prom is almost a sure bet as well. And we could see The Life Ahead land for Low C. So that's 4. And then probably the Trolls World Tour song gets in there for Just Sing. So I think it's those. All In, The Fight for Democracy is one I have getting in at the Oscars right now for the song Turntables, which is getting quite a bit of press here now after we've seen Joe Biden take the presidency up here. I've seen quite a few ads for it and stuff. So that one is hitting kind of strong right now. So that one maybe I might see getting bumped up there for maybe taking over the One Night in Miami song for frontrunner right now. Otherwise, Mank does have an original song with If Only You Could Save Me, so that one might get in. If they really like Borat, there is Wuhan Flu. We mentioned that one last time. Just generally speaking, I think it's close there. But that song category at the Globes, I'm always really always really off. I get like 1 or 2, and then everything else is like, maybe that one. I guess it's like it's always a mystery one there. All right. Well, let's see. I feel like we've, that's all the categories, again, except for foreign language, which I think, before we get the nominations out there, it'll probably be Tuesday night. I'll come out with final nomination predictions. If not, maybe that Sunday or Monday before. But we'll get the last nominations out there. I'll kind of make up my mind with a couple of these questionable slots right now, and then we'll kind of go from there. But also. We'll figure everything out with that foreign language film category as well. I think The Life Ahead, I don't see why that one wouldn't get in for foreign language. I mean, I believe it's eligible there, so probably that one, Minari, Another Round are probably the 3 that I would go with right now. And again, what would really help definitely secure that spot for Life Ahead is if Sophia Loren does get in. And again, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know who to push out to get her in. It's like Carey Mulligan, I don't know. It feels like, especially after Promising Woman opened there, everybody kind of like gathered around the movie like, holy crap, this is the one that we need to push and stuff. And I think knockout performance from her as well in that one. I don't know. And then Zendaya, it kind of feels like, again, early on I made that argument about, are we going to have too many Netflix contenders here in this particular category? But I'm like, I don't know. I think, generally speaking, I think, they would have argued about that, last year or, a couple years ago. But with, the pandemic and everything is already kind of streaming anyways. It's like, it might not matter. So, yeah, that might have been an argument just at the time. And now since then, I'm like, well, everything's streaming. So I don't know if they'll necessarily care. So, yeah, that again, there's a few categories here I'm going to wrestle with, but yeah, generally speaking, I think the Globes, yeah, they'll point out some stuff here. I think they'll definitely like Sound of Metal. I don't have getting any Oscar nominations right now, except for the sound category. We'll definitely see if it has the buzz behind it that a lot of people think it does, with Riz Ahmed and Paul Raci getting in, and also possibly the screenplay as well. We'll see. I think definitely a couple nominations of the Globes here will definitely show, yep, this one is probably here to stay. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited to figure out who these nominees are, and then, like I said, we'll have the SAG nominations out the next day. So it's like this one is February 3rd, and then the nominations for SAG are out that Thursday, the 4th. So, yeah, so I'll again, later on this week, probably I'll get out a second video here. We'll get an updated look at the SAG Awards, which, generally speaking, I think I've got the same, except I put in Zendaya and maybe one or two other changes. But, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there in a separate video there. All right, otherwise, yep, that's all I have for now, and we'll catch you guys next time. And, again, very likely it'll be SAG nomination predictions.